Okay. So here we're going to look at what's happening as you're getting ready for bed. What's your typical kind of bedtime ritual? What do you do as you get ready to go to sleep?
Wow, Rocky. I've practiced really good sleep hygiene, and then it goes out the window. So then I try to get back on it, and then I just, it's hard for me to follow that. But typically, I'll eat dinner around 6:37, and I do watch some TV. It's typically, I try not to even do the 10 o'clock news anymore, because it's usually stuff that's
like
quite disturbing. But about 9 o'clock, I want to veg in front of the TV with some Discovery Channel stuff, kind of stuff that is a little more boring. Something on the Galapagos Islands or something. And actually, that actually calms me a little bit. But I do snack, and I'll snack on usually some fruit or something. Sometimes I'll want some chips or popcorn, but not as often.
And so you mentioned sleep hygiene, and obviously you've been drilled on that. Where do you see you dropping off on sleep hygiene?
I get tired, and I just want to veg in front of the TV. That's where I really drop off. Or I'll get preoccupied in answering my emails after my son goes to bed, and that's where.
But you're kind of doing some exciting things before bed instead of winding down. And how often do you find yourself nodding off in bed after you get in bed and are watching TV?
It's funny that you ask, because I do nod off pretty consistently. But then once the lights go off, I can't go to sleep. So with that monotone voice that you hear with these, types of
Galapagos Islands.
Yes.
So you'll nod off, and then you wake up and turn the lights off, and then find your arousal level goes up after that.
After that. Is that normal?
Well, yeah, I think that some of what's happening is you're worried about sleeping.
Yeah.
So you're laying down, and when you're not trying to sleep, you're watching TV. You nod off.
Yeah.
Then when you turn off the lights and lay down, you're trying to go to sleep.
Yeah. And
you don't do it.
Yeah.
And so.
You nailed it.
And it sounds like the big things there are noises. Really seem like that you're real sensitive to noises, and then a fair amount of thought kinds of things where you're worrying about falling asleep, or you're just ruminating in general, where your mind is just going. Would you say that you're worrying, where you're anticipating negative things, or?
It's usually what I need to do the next day. I got to get up. I know I have to have this report in. There's this meeting I got to go to. So there's usually what's happening the following day versus what happened during the day. And during the day is more stressful than these. It feels like it's irrelevant, the stuff that I'm ruminating on. Even what I got to stop at the market to pick up some food for dinner, it's crazy stuff.
So you're anticipating stuff, but it's not necessarily worry or catastrophe or disaster, negative kind of thinking.
Sometimes I'm disturbed with what happened in the day, like earlier in the day, if there's a child that comes into the trauma center and there's something significant like that, and I understand that, and I typically do things differently when that happens. When there's like an exposure to something really traumatic in the emergency room, and it's usually when it's a child that it really gets to us in the emergency room.
And it seemed like you were saying that you're feeling like you're getting better and better at coping with that stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Even when that happens, my whole evening shifts to take care of myself better when I'm exposed to that in the trauma room.
So both once the lights go out and then once you wake up at 3 a.m., you're in this similar kind of anticipatory, looking ahead, not catastrophe, not worry, but just thinking.
And sometimes it's so ridiculous, Rocky. I don't, yet I just can't stop it.
Yeah, and some of that is, associated with, boy, I really need to get to sleep.
Yes.
But some of it also is just, I've got a busy day tomorrow. It may be related to sleep, but it probably, may be, may not be. But it's just that anticipation. And it's almost like you keep yourself thinking in order to keep yourself awake.
Oh, huh.
So a lot of thinking, a lot of worry, in terms of that anticipatory anxiety. Schedule's about the same on the weekends. You're waking up about the same time. Even the sleep that you're getting, you don't feel is real restorative.
When I take a nap, the evening feels a lot better. I take a nap in the afternoon, but the weekends. Well, the only reason if I could sleep in, I would, but I have a child that jumps on mommy's bed and
6:30 or 7.
Exactly. So, but sometimes I can get an extra hour in there if my husband takes him out for breakfast or something like that. But typically it's
so these naps seem to be restorative, but your nighttime sleep doesn't seem to be real restorative. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Interesting. And so you're napping about 3 times a week, about half the time. And how long are those?
Oh boy, they could be anywhere from just a 15-minute nap. In those ones, I actually do better with 15-20 minutes than a good hour. I could go up to an hour if I have the time.
And you haven't noticed any seasonal variations in this?
No.
Or, and you're not falling asleep at work or falling asleep driving?
No.
So it doesn't seem like you're really sleepy during the day.
Oh, I'm sleepy, but and here's the part of the sleep hygiene. I drink a lot of coffee to keep me alert and to keep me, ready to respond, especially at work.
Yeah. And you see yourself pretty much in the middle in terms of a night person or a morning person.
In the middle.
Kind of no preference one way or the other. And so you said your husband snores. Are there other things that are happening at night, either with him or pets or anything?
Well, occasionally the cat will jump on the bed.
How often does that happen?
Well, not anymore. We got her in another room. So, but it was happening consistently, maybe 2 times a week, and that changed pretty quick because there was control over that.
And how often is your husband snoring waking you up or keeping you awake?
Keeping me awake. Yeah, that could, and it varies with him. That could be several times a week. It's worse when I can't get to sleep.
Yeah, and what happens there is you can't get to sleep. He's over there snoring. He's asleep, so you're jealous and you're pissed off at him. And both of those are emotions. Those are both arousing, and they make it harder to sleep. And so there's some of those cycles.
And there's a cycle.